Diane in Denmark here, and yes, good morning. It's still very dark here. It is the 6th of December, if you can see that from our calendar candle. And don't worry, I'll pop the lights on now because otherwise we're going to be sitting here in darkness. There we go. I've added a wee bit more light. I haven't put the overhead lights on. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll know that we have our breakfast by candlelight. A lot of times during winter, it's just a kind of hygge way to start the day. Anyway, as you can see, we've got the calendar candle going today. It's the 6th of December. I hope those of you who were celebrating Sinterklaas, St. Nicholas, I hope that went well. I thought today I would do something that I haven't done for a long time, a little question and answer session. And let me just blow this one out and put it to the side. There we go. Put that one over here. I've got the other calendar candle going as well. See, here we are, and it's really fun to see, we're counting down almost at Christmas. And I've got a little helper with me today. This is Niels, and Niels is our little elf, and I really like his little beard, and I'm thinking actually, I take pictures when I do my shiny sink on Instagram every night, and I was thinking I can start doing little different things with Niels' beard. I was thinking he might turn up having a kind of Hercule Poirot moustache, like that. Anyway, let's get into it. As I said, I thought I'd do a question answer session because a few things have come up the last couple of days. And yeah, sometimes it's just nice to have a wee chat. Actually, one of the first things that came up is this calendar candle jar that I have. Now, I got this last year. I didn't make it. I bought it from a company called E. Lauwersen. And remember, I don't do any affiliate links. I'm not here, I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm just here to, be your cheerleader, encourage you. So no affiliate links, but and I don't know if they will even ship anywhere else outside of Denmark, but you could make one yourself. All it is a glass jar, and there, you buy a set of candles to go with it, and you could make this yourself. You maybe saw the video that I did with Vibeke over at her house where we're showing you candle decorations, some easy craft ideas using what you have in the garden or what you can get out in the woods. And you could use, if your kids have Sharpie pens, you could, even write the numbers on the candles. Here we are. So you see? So you've got one for every day. And what we do is we burn this one at breakfast, and then we have the other one. The other one lasts a bit longer. That can burn for about an hour every day. But me as a canny Scot, I don't want to use the whole thing. So I had it last year, and I'll probably be able to use it the next couple of years. And what you could do is, this comes with a lid that's got the candle holder stuck on. If you can find, an old-fashioned candle holder, just stick that onto the lid of any kind of glass jar that you've got, and Bob's your uncle, you've got your own little calendar decoration. Anyway, I'll pop this one to the side. So that was the candle thing. A question that came up, I got a lot of questions yesterday. You saw that we now have our Christmas tree. It's not in the house yet, and I'll tell you why in a minute. The Christmas trees that we have here, as I mentioned yesterday, they come from sustainable forests, because also somebody said, cut trees are bad. Actually, if you research it, if you have, the best of course is to get a tree in a pot that you can plant out and bring into the house year after year. We haven't been successful with that. I don't know if it's climate here, it just hasn't worked for us. So we get the cut tree, and they have worked out, if you're wanting to go green for Christmas, the trees that we have, they come from sustainable forests. So we're not kind of, they're grown like a crop. They're grown on earth that's not kind of can be used for anything else. So they come locally, so that's also good for the environment. And in our commune and most of Denmark, our trees are picked up after Christmas, and they're taken for recycling, for mulch, manure, whatever it is. So everything is being reused. So our trees are sustainable. And they worked out that actually you would need to use a plastic tree for 20 years, you know, and not change your tree every couple of years, but actually use the same tree for 20 years to make the equivalent of buying a fresh tree. So there you go. And also with the plastic trees, of course, they're made of plastic. They are, most of them I believe are imported from China, so you've got the transport, and also the plastic trees, when they kind of go off to die, they end up as landfills, so they can't be recycled in the same way. So anyway, go for whatever you want. And also in Denmark, I've mentioned to you, the Danes only have one tree. You know, we don't have a tree in every room. The Danes will have one tree. And I had a lot of questions about, oh, but what about, you know, fire safety and is it risk? We have two types of Christmas trees here, and I had to research the English names. We have Rødgran, which is a Norway spruce tree, and the Rødgran is the very old-fashioned Christmas tree that you will see in books and in stories, you know, the first trees, you know, the tradition that came from Germany. And that's the one that it can be kind of a light red look to it, and it's got kind of sharp pointy needles, and that's the one that drops its needles very quickly. And then the other one that we have here is called Normandsgran. And that's the one that we like in our family. Now that's called, in English, Normand fir tree. So you have the spruce tree and you have the fir tree. The spruce tree ones, they lose their needles very quickly. So if you've got that type, you'll probably have it in a bucket of water. You know all about that. Oh, sorry, this is the end of my morning routine. Let me just switch off the dishwasher. There we are, so it's not going beep, beep, beep. Yeah, and the Normans, the Norman, that's the tree that you saw me with yesterday. That keeps its needles for a long time. So that's why we have the stand. And people who are using the stands here, they normally have the Normandsgran. It costs a little bit more, but I like the look of that one better. It's just kind of a softer tree, and there's more space between the needles and the branches. But anyway, you know, it's a personal decision. And when you're buying a fresh tree, you saw me, I had it yesterday, and I put our one into the shed. If you're buying a fresh tree, the best idea is not to just, you know, cut it down the forest, or, you know, you buy it from your local dealer and bring it straight into the house. What we do here is we usually leave it, you know, if you can leave it somewhere slightly covered, like in a garage, some kind of shed, maybe in a basement, and you let it sit there for a few days just to kind of come up to room temperature. That really increases the lifespan of the tree, and it means it won't drop its needles. And so anyway, just a few tips for you there. And also the people who buy the Rødgran, quite often they put like headache tablets into the water. Apparently that helps. But as I said to you, in Denmark, they do not put up their tree, you know, as soon as as soon as Halloween is over. I've got our tree, and we won't be putting it in the house until next week. So the tree is only up for a short amount of time. You know, it's the kind of final thing before Christmas. So anyway, I hope I covered everything with that. So don't worry about fire safety. And also, I've mentioned before, you know, we have a lot of homemade decorations in Denmark, a lot of things with things from the woods that you collect. The Danes always have, you know, kind of fire extinguisher on hand, and if you don't have that, also a really good idea is to have a bottle of fizzy water, you know, just sparkling water, and then, you know, if there's any problems with candles or whatever, you've got a kind of mini fire extinguisher on hand. So anyway, enough of the trees. Oh yeah, a little question that came up about dressing your truth. You know, I've been doing this Dressing Your Truth program since April, was it March or April? Some of you told me about it and I delved into it. And it was July that Carol Tuttle put me back on the right track, and that I'm a type 1. And a lot of you have said, but what about the black? You know, everybody says, oh, you know, no more black clothing. I haven't worn a single black item since July, since I found out I was a type 1-4, and I haven't missed it one jot. And actually now when I see black things, it makes me feel, oh, kind of heavy and stuff. So I've mentioned it on the Dressing Your Truth videos which I've made. I'll put a link up there. I've got a whole playlist of, you know, clothes swap party things and wardrobe. I did keep some black items for, you know, if there's some kind of formal occasion or a funeral, something like that. I've kept some classic black items, but I haven't worn black since July. So, and I'm feeling much better for it. Right, that was on DYT. Let me see how much time we've got. Okay, I think I can maybe do. I'll do one more thing. I get a lot of questions at this time of year when we're coming up for Christmas. When we're coming up for, you know, parties and events, there's a lot going on, end of school, visitors coming, you know, maybe you've got guests coming to stay. What to do about your routines, what to do about zone cleaning. So, and I'll tell you what I do, and oh, hold on, poor little Niels got kind of sidetracked there. When we have guests, and especially guests to stay, usually it's family, sometimes it can be friends, I keep going with my routines. Now, and I'm not, if I can explain it this way, I'm not kind of being rude to the guests by saying, oh, okay, I'm off to bed now. And I just keep going with my routines in that. Or if I can explain to you how it would happen before I really got into the Flylady thing and I was really consistent with my routines. When we had guests, everything would suddenly go to pot and I would think, oh, well, you know, I better sit in the living room with the guests after dinner and not clear up, and, oh, I won't do that. And you know what, that's a really bad thing because you're getting more and more stressed, the guests can feel it, and also things are kind of sliding, and when the guests leave, you're left with this kind of huge, giant pile-up. The great thing about having guests is that guests are there to see you in your home, and a lot of them will want to help. If they offer to help, say, and you know, I would always be, no, I can do it myself, I'll do it all on my own. Just say, yes, thank you, just, and you know, appreciate the help and accept the help. I've mentioned it to you before, when Mum and Dad would come over, Mum and Dad would come for Christmas and they'd be here like for 2 weeks. And I would feel like, oh, I had to have everything prepared for them, and I learned that, you know, they didn't feel comfy because I was running around doing everything and they didn't get to help. So I would kind of direct them into what would be helpful for me. So Mum would maybe do some ironing or make soup. Mum's fantastic at making soup. And a lot of other things, but she's great at making soup. And my dad, I've mentioned this before, my sweet old dad, my dad was a perfectionist, very type 4, and he would not let things go. He would go on and on and on and on. So he never got projects finished. But anyway, if you put a Hoover, you know, a vacuum in my dad's hand, he would, you know, he would quite happily Hoover for 24 hours. So I would get my dad hoovering, and then my dad would be out in the garden doing a bit of pruning, and you know, and he was happy because he had a little job to do. He felt like he was kind of, you know, being useful. And so when you have family to stay, please let them help. Also so that you can enjoy it, but don't kind of let everything go to pot, because then, you know, you're maybe not getting to bed at a decent hour, and so don't let it all go to pot. On the other hand, you don't need to worry about, you know, zone cleaning, you know, at this time of year, and because, you know, if you're being consistent with your zone cleaning the rest of the time, you'll know that it's really easy to get back on track. It's never going to be as bad as it was before. And if you want help with the zone cleaning, you know, I've got a whole Flylady playlist of zone cleaning, and you've seen me working in the zones. 15 minutes and basically I can clean a room, you know, from the ceiling to the ground. Not perfectly, but it's done. So, but don't worry about things like zone cleaning, you know, when you've got guests or when things are really stressed. Make sure you stick with those routines. Just, you know, making sure that you do a load of laundry every day, you know, a lull as we like to call it. Because if you keep up with your routines, it really is only a few minutes every day, like emptying the dishwasher, loading the dishwasher, emptying the dishwasher. You think, oh, it's going to take 3 hours, and if you set your timer or use your timer as your stopwatch, you'll find out, you know what it takes, like, I can unload that dishwasher in less than 3 minutes, or, you know, one song on the radio. So make it fun for yourselves. Okay, and last thing, I've mentioned this before, I don't have a PO box address. I've had a lot of messages from many of you wanting to send me Christmas gifts and Christmas cards. It's really sweet of you, but I cannot accept gifts. I just don't feel right about accepting things from you. I'm here to be your cheerleader, and you know, when you leave a nice comment, that is lovely. That's all the thanks that I need. As I've said to you, I'm not a professional YouTuber, so I'm not doing this, you know, subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to be here making these videos whether you subscribe or not. I just love talking to you know, where it's just me and you over the kitchen table. You know, there's no, you know, we're all doing this together, including Nis and Niels. So anyway, I'm going to get on with unloading the dishwasher, which will take me less than 3 minutes. I hope you have a fantastic day. Oh, and the other thing was, yeah, when I've also mentioned this before, I don't respond to private messages, direct messages, private messages on Facebook. Facebook is something I only use for friends, so there's nothing to see, you know. Facebook is a private thing for me. I don't reply to private messages on Instagram or YouTube ones, because I've said this before, I get some weird stuff in it, so I only look at those occasionally. But if you have a question, you know, put it on a public forum and I'll see if I can get to it there. I can't answer everybody's questions, as I've mentioned before. I do this in my spare time. I'm not being paid for this, so I just make these videos when I can and respond when I can. But thanks to everybody also on Instagram who's also been joining in with the fitness thing. You know, we're still going on the fitness. I'm running or doing the 7-minute exercise app every day. Sometimes I do both, and I'm out on my bike. And the winter darkness has not really descended upon my soul this year. I'm really managing to keep it that at bay. Anyway, you can see the sun is now beginning to come up. Yeah, and we might even be in for a bit of sunshine today in Denmark, but probably some rain. Anyway, it'll all be good. So, live long and prosper. May the Danish food be with you. And I'm heading into the city, Copenhagen, later on today, so I shall see if I can film something and maybe put that up tomorrow. Anyway, have a lovely day. Remember, it is Little Friday, woohoo, or Thursday, but Danes prefer to call it Little Friday, and I shall see you very soon. Okay, bye for now.